Welcome, greetings. I'm Nicole, and we will get started in just a moment. Welcome to our first, after our intro class, to our 8-week master class for our spiritual awakening experiences. Welcome. I hope everyone enjoyed their Sunday. And we are going to get started in another moment here. Welcome. Please go ahead and use your live chat box. And feel free to use it throughout our workshop. This is a non-traditional setting. I trust that everyone is comfortable where they're at. No pantyhose. No ties and all of that restrictive attire. Comfortable wherever you are, wherever you want to be. Thank you for your investment of your time and your energy. Thank you for looking into a deeper spiritual understanding for yourself. So we'll get started in just a moment. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, everyone. I'm Nicole, and welcome to our first class, just number one after our intro class last week of our 8-week master class, our spiritual guidance for your spiritual awakening. So we're going to dive right in. Last class was our intro class, and we used that class to just go over the 7 different stages of a spiritual awakening. And just as a recap, our spiritual awakening is the moment you realize that you're a soul within a body, that you have this connection with our Creator, and there is no go-between that is necessary for you to have a direct connection with our Creator outside of our spirit guides, our angels, manifestations of God, our messengers of God. And we have all of this beautiful angelic celestial help just for us. So in this life journey, this is one of the lifetimes that we will be blessed with. I'm of the belief that when we pass on into the Abba kingdom, that we are blessed to live out another lifetime, but not in the same vessel, circumstances that we have right now. And so just as a quick recap before we get into our class today, we have 7 phases within a spiritual awakening. And that first phase is awareness, and that is the phase that we'll focus on today. Any questions that you have, please go ahead and use our live chat box. Hello, namaste, Rachel, and everyone else that can use the chat box. I know some of us are multitasking, and that's okay. You know, as I said, this is a non-traditional setting, and I want you to get in every bit of the content that we go over and you can use during your spiritual discovery. Time and time again. This is not just for the phase that you're experiencing now. And hello, Marshall, LaShonda. Good morning, good evening, good night. This is to be used all the time. This is what I use. This is what I teach in our coaching practice, in our coaching sessions as well. So, All right. So the first phase we have is is awareness, and we are aware that we are souls within a body. And that awareness comes in a multitude of different ways. We touched on it a little bit in our intro class. And while we go through the next 6 phases of a spiritual awakening, I'm going to ask everyone, because this is a workshop and I'm an educator, so I want hands-on, I want involvement so that you can really feel it. It is proven that what we show any student of any age by their ability to experience it and have that hands-on approach is what sticks with them instead of constantly being talked to or lectured, right? So what are the ways that you have come to the understanding that you are in a spiritual awakening? How has that awareness hit you? And it can be throughout whatever awareness phase you have a willingness to share. Could be the one you're going through now, could be one prior to. Because as a reminder, we go through a multitude of them in our lifetime. It is not just one, because there is that reason for us to grow spiritually. So why don't you share in your live chat box over there how you came to be aware, and let's offer everyone some support. That's a huge, huge deal in our spiritual awakening journey, that we have support. Support is that one major factor that is missing when anytime, any one of us try to experience a growth, an ascension, a behavioral change, go through a different pattern. And so that lack of support is really a big deal. It is that support that makes a difference in whether we are successful in longevity and what we're trying to achieve also. So let's respond to each other while I go through our recap, okay? So thank you so much. I see already starting. Good job. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Wonderful spiritual superstar, light working energy. That makes me feel really good. Thank you so much for supporting each other. So we've got the first stage, which is awareness. And we have those signs, symbols, messages from all of the above. We have these indicators that let us know we are experiencing something, out of the norm there. Then we go through detachment, understanding that we've got to let go of some behaviors, patterns, people, relationships, parts of our life that really no longer serve us where we're going, and some of which never did. Parts of ourselves that we're understanding, okay, I got to change this. It is time. Understanding that, whoa, I'm receiving different likes and dislikes, and my needs and wants are changing, and my tastes are changing, as well as your senses. So we receive that type of detachment, which is growth. And then when we realize we're being pulled away from something and being pulled towards another, it can be really scary and frightening. So the third phase is vulnerability. And being vulnerable, is necessary for change. We have to go through that energy of really avoid and to really sit in that space in order for us to receive that which Divine Source has for us. So vulnerability is a big deal. And often in that stage is where we can stay a little bit longer. But when we get it, we got that aha moment and we become enlightened, which is our fourth stage here. And so when you receive that breakthrough, there's a pivot in your direction of where you're going and where you're taking that spiritual growth and that ascension within your spiritual awakening phase. And so when we have that new understanding, we then are able to say, I have the choice and I'm going to make the choice to accept it or not. And we go back to being vulnerable and maybe even trying it out. So we go back to detachment and kind of teetering between awareness and detachment when we don't jump right into acceptance. And so that's another stage where we're going to jump back and forth and, excuse me, we're going to really focus on that, going back 10 steps, going forward 20 steps, because it's important that you know your spiritual experience is your own. And you heard me say this before, that you are your best expert in your spiritual experiences. And so you absolutely always deserve to be validated for what you are experiencing. I can't say you didn't experience that. I'm blessed that you're sharing it with me. But sometimes, unfortunately, some people don't see it that way. And there comes that inner outer struggle also that we need to be vulnerable in to move forward. So as we accept it, we're accepting these new changes, we're seeing new patterns, we are having a lot of sadness there as well as excitement. It's kind of you feel out of yourself kind of feeling, because there's some of that detachment that still is being now solidified. And so stepping into that new way of being in your new skin really is then understanding, okay, now what do I do? I guess I've got to move forward, and that is taking action. So you're really understanding that practice, and, it's uncomfortable to really go forward and step into this new space that you have never been in before. That's huge. That takes that tremendous amount of work that you did in prior steps to be vulnerable to what Spirit is showing you and welcoming this new way of being. So it's a big deal. And then going into confirmation. So you're living it. You know you are about what you are seeing and feeling and believing, and you are manifesting each step, and you're understanding that, oh my gosh, I am a soul within a body. I'm breathing. I'm experiencing this. And this is humongous for me. And so then you go right on back, boom, to the detachment phase, and you're jumping throughout all levels right there, time and time again. So absolutely. So I asked everybody to say what, and welcome Chantel, welcome everyone else who just joined our workshop today. Today is the first class after our intro class, but we're going to discuss awareness, which is our first phase. And so I just went through a recap. What I want everyone to do, and if you can, please do that, is to share when you realized you were really, having a spiritual awakening, or when you question that it was even going on. You can share with us about this phase or a one prior to, or even if you're still kind of questioning, I think, I've been noticing this and that, but it's the reason that you're here. And so sharing that really allows everyone to have that comfortable air, even though we're, in a non-traditional setting. It could be kind of, kind of nervous, kind of uncomfortable, kind of, it could be a little shy, which is totally understandable, because again, when you're in this side of spirituality, many times you have stepped outside of a religious umbrella, and that is like a whoa, no, taboo kind of thing for a lot of people. And that is scary. It's also seen as being disrespectful, disloyal, got all of the above coming at you. So I commend you so much for just being here and seeking out what the heck is going on with you so that you understand it. I'm very proud of you for that. So Marshall says, more than ever, I've been feeling a pull to be my best and to grow. See, that's awesome. That is, and it's just that, Marshall. Truly, thank you so much for sharing that. Says that that pull, it really is. I want you to envision just that pull of seeing, yourself being pulled into this direction and your hands back like this, because it really is heartfelt and you're really going out like this. And so it is a feeling of, I don't have control over this pull, but I do have control of whether I brace my hands against things to kind of, slow the progression, slow that pull, and to maybe bring some obstacles there along the way, because I might be kicking and screaming along the way. That's when you're going back and forth through the phases. So know that Spirit expects us to do that. We are half human, which means we're half faulty, but not all the way. And so that pull is tremendous. Rachel says, yes, the pull. I've been going through the confirmation phase this time around. All right. Nice. So this is really getting your feet wet. Now you're kind of wading in that water, jumping in a little bit to the deep end, and might not be swimming around just yet. You might be, but soon you're going to be doing the cannonball, and regardless of who else is there. So that's a big deal. That pull is spirit. And so let's talk about the awareness phase now. You can be going through a religion understanding, where you're moving from religion to religious umbrella to the vastness of spirituality. It could be family, relationships. Your sleep pattern could be changing, where you understand that these are these signs and symbols, messages coming through your different clairs. You can have a clarifaction, and that is our sense of smell. We can smell something coming. We can smell an old soul. We can smell an energy of a soul being around us. We can smell death. We can smell birth. We can smell, I smelled my nieces and could tell them that they were pregnant, that kind of thing. So that always freaked them out. But I've also been able to tell them that they are pregnant before they know themselves. But that's a part of a spiritual gift that I've always recognized and as an extremely powerful blessing, that I've never been wrong in telling someone. And so understanding that was one of my spiritual awakening phases, that, oh my gosh, this is really something that's a gift for me, and trying it out, jumping straight on to taking action. And, I was the bloodhound, sniffing people out. Weirdo number one. I was definitely wearing that hat. But I was right. And every time I would do it, I would get that much more excited. And whenever I would come across someone in the street and tell them, congratulations, and they're like, like I'm not even showing yet, kind of thing. So you come to this awareness, and you may have also, as I say, clarifaction there. Clairliance is also that clear smelling. And so you just have that understanding when there is an energy around you. Clairaudience, when you're feeling and hearing these messages from divine source, and you're like, and then someone looks at you like, what? And you're like, nothing. Because you totally just heard a voice, and it wasn't your voice, wasn't your tone, wasn't anybody that you recognized, because it was your spirit guide, because it was an angel talking to you, because it was from our Creator. And that in of itself can freak you out enough to know that you're being pulled, and you're being pulled by the one that created you and created all of the things around you, and it really is ultimately in control of everything. And you're like, what? So that can be very vulnerable. And so, absolutely, thank you so much for continuing to share in our chat box, because it really helps all of us to really see and then say, oh my gosh, I did too. Or, you really see how connected we really are. So Chantel says, I believe I've been experiencing a spiritual awakening for some time now. I noticed my senses had heightened, my smell, hearing sensitivity. Absolutely. And that is a part of it. Your senses will heighten. You will become more aware of what's happening to you in the shower, for example. And so these are those signs I really want you to pay attention to. Here is what you really want to pay attention to and add on to this, because there is no better expert than yourself in your spiritual experiences. And always keep that in mind. I'm always saying that because oftentimes we give our power away to someone else just because they say in so many words they deserve it. And that can be in the lack of confidence within ourselves. And I want you to always be empowered. That's a big deal to me as an educator, but as a spirit guide, as a child of our Creator, and as someone that is of service to humanity. Always be empowered in your connection with Divine Source. You can always deepen that connection and go from there on out. So notice what exactly you are hearing, seeing, tasting, feeling, being touched by, sensing, seeing in your visions, your dreams, if you're having epiphany moments where you just totally walk away from this fourth and sometimes third density, and you're totally in the fifth, sixth, seventh, and beyond. And someone has to go like this. Where are you? Are you there? Why are you always in your own world? Where did you just go to? You just blinked out. What's going on? That kind of thing. And notice when you're waking up in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, whatever your sleep pattern is. Has your sleep pattern changed all of a sudden? All these awarenesses. Marshall said, I've realized that I'm being pulled to my better self, my best self. So, Marshall, I would imagine there are a lot of things that you're being told to detach from that may not, feel so good right off the top, but some of them really do. But that understanding of, wait a minute, I drew a distaste or even a disdain, for example, for smoking cigarettes. All of a sudden, I picked it up, boom, I didn't want it anymore. I smelt it. It was like, oh, you have the same reaction of someone that has never smoked cigarettes and that smells that smoke and gives you that same look. And then you realize, oh my gosh, I had that same look before you did that. Those were the signs that Spirit was giving you to say, I got you. I'm working with you. And I'm having you pay attention to these signs. That is that awareness. So then when you take that pull and you're like, ooh, that's not good. Now you're hitting the detachment phase and you look at it and you're like, whoa, okay, this is not for me anymore. Could it really be like that? All of a sudden, boom, I don't want it anymore. And that can be really freaky. Can really freak you out a little bit. So being pulled to my better self. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And now we're seeing people seeing the number 11, and that's a huge deal. So the number 11 is karma. And I'm going to, I'm going to give you the link if I can, and go to NecoleXO.com and look at the spiritual meaning to 11. And let's see if I can get to our channel and give you the link to the video on number 11. Let's see. And that's telling you that you've got a do-over coming. All right. Let's see.
Nueva Coca-Cola, sí.
All right, there's one. So can't look at it now. But here's the link. And let's see, there's another, I think there was another one for 1111. So we're going to do that. Give that to you. Very significant because 11 is telling you that you've got a do-over. And when you start seeing it, Spirit is telling you, I am going to bring to you something that is going to mean something to you on a heightened level. Your emotions, your feelings, people involved are very precious to you. The whole experience, extremely precious. And it is the ultimate detachment during a spiritual awakening. When you become aware of that karmic number 11, you are being pulled in a major new path, but you have that choice. So I'm going to share with you, and I'm so thankful that you all are being so vocal and participating, because that's a big deal. You want to, before I go into the spiritual meaning to 11, you want to really start interpreting the meaning of what that pattern is of awareness for you. Remember, it's going to be throughout all your senses, and you're going to have that intuitive understanding, which is through your solar plexus, which is in your gut, your tummy. And you're going to have the same feelings over your body. It's gonna be a pattern that repeats itself. It is a cycle. And very powerfully, here comes the number 11. You will undoubtedly see the number 11. So 11 is such a blessing. 11 is telling you, and I know my family is coming back in the door, so I might have to click off on the volume there. They don't see the note that I left for them to shh. Okay, so spiritual meaning to 11. What a blessing. 11 is telling you that Spirit is gifting you with a do-over, major do-over, and you have found balance. So 11 is spiritual growth. You have arrived at a profound understanding that will be your foundation in the next phase of your spiritual journey. So Marshall and everyone else that has recognized the number 11 in any spiritual awakening, remember, you're taking this information for future spiritual awakenings. Okay, this is not just for the now. This is what you're using for subsequent awakening phases. So you've got this extremely profound understanding that is going to be your foundation. You're pouring the concrete, and it is the top-notch quality, high-grade concrete that no one can get a hold of except for you. It's rare. It's made just for you. And this is to begin the next phase of your spiritual journey with, just the supreme foundation. So 11 is the first master number. And that means that number 11 is personified in the energies of 1, which is a new foundation. It's a new beginning. It is all just beginning. And it is right after Divine Source gifted it to you. So it is laid out. It is given to you like this. And all you need to do is receive it. So during your spiritual awakening phase, you will see number 11 in combination with other numbers or alone. And Spirit wants you to pay attention to the moment you recognize 11. 11 can also be symbolically in words or shapes such as straight lines, arrows, parallel lines. You could see, 2 pins and look at it. If you see it as number 11, it's number 11. Second you see it, you've acknowledged it. That's divine source speaking to you and saying, pay attention to that. That means you are on top of it. So Spirit is confirming you leadership qualities also. That is the professional phase that you are entering. Also, managerial, supervisor, team lead, educator, group lead, director, some type of mastery level is there that you are to share that knowledge with others. You are the teacher. You are being a gift to others. So this is meant for you to share. Now, the information may be meant for you to share, as in, I'm sharing my experience with you so that you know when you're going through your experience that these are the things you can expect. But number 11 also says you are not a follower, and others look to you right now for answers that you receive from within your spiritual connection with spirit and your spiritual team. You are an inspiration as you are inspired by the Most High and all of your spiritual guides and your helpers. Spiritual meaning to 11 reminds you to shine bright when you see this magical number. And the most illumined is leading you right now. So know that. Oh my gosh, divine source is leading me when you see that number 11. So Marshall, right on point, and everyone else, Chantel, LaShonda, everyone else, Rachel, who has said, yes, I'm seeing it and I'm feeling that pull. You are being held to a higher station in this earthly dimension. That's a huge deal, which can also be kind of shaky there, and it can make you kind of feel a little nervous and a little bit insecure. So 11 says, follow the rules and be reminded of your integrity, leading you to your success. There is a new wave of support being extended to you. 11 says, be open to receiving heaven's help. You will find yourself in a legal battle sometimes, and if you do, if you're in a dispute or a disagreement, 11 is the opening of a new era in your life. There's justice there. So it's time for you to be optimistic and unlimited in your mindset. 11 is the awakening process. 11 is your new beginning. 11 is encouraging you to realign with your higher self. Spirit is blessing you with the opportunity to do something over. And 11 is ushering in a chance for you to take the road you have been afraid to travel in the past. And so you might be asking yourself, what if I choose that option? What if I decide to do whatever it is? What if this one thing? But Spirit is asking you to choose the other option. So you may feel that something is, you're missing out on something, like your ship already passed you by. Number 11 is going to show you that I'm back. And now you've got this do-over. The do-over doesn't come over just twice, 3 times, 4 times. You don't get one opportunity. That opportunity will come. Different circumstances will be there, but you will feel it. And that is a part of listening to you, which is your soul. You are your soul. Your human is your vessel, your body. So that in that moment, you're saying, oh my gosh, this is so familiar. I've been here before. Okay. This is a new time, but I know I've been here before. So now you're going back down memory lane. You're working with Archangel Jeremiah, the angel of vision. But you're not staying in the past. You're moving in the future. You're using that as a tool. When you're aware, the first phase in your awareness, you're working with Archangel Jeremiah, and you're using that trip back down memory lane when you go back and you're looking at things and you're in that moment and you're like, I've been here before. I know what to do. Oh my gosh, I'm really nervous because, all right, I'm being pulled to my life mission. And what I've been doing for the past 10, 15, 20, 25 years is not it. But now I know that I feel a freshness and I'm aware of my spiritual gifts in a whole new way. I'm aware of these qualities within me that I may have been afraid of, that I may have ignored, that I may have suppressed to keep the peace within family, within myself, my community, what I was taught from a child. Now I'm growing into myself, coming into my own, seeing these things that are always been there. Awareness. All of these things are in the first phase. And in that karma, you find, oh, there's another door. There's another door. And as you look back, you say, okay, I've been here. And I know I didn't take that door before. I've been afraid. We have all been afraid. And I want you to hear me say it, that no matter what, no matter how many times that I have recognized karma in my life, that fear has surfaced. And it will undoubtedly always surface because we are half human. And when we're half human, that understanding is faulty. And when we understand that, we know that our human side is all about conditional energy, all about fear, all about sadness, all about anger, all about aggression, all about conditional love. That's what our human is used to. Why? Because our human has to be to make it in this density that we live in. If our human were like our soul, we wouldn't make it in this lifetime. Our human protects our soul. That's us. Our human is our armor. Our human is our vessel. Our human is our home while we are alive. So, that understanding while we're alive is a condition. Our human is quite aware that our human is all conditional energy. Our human has a time limit. So as you soar spiritually, okay, as you soar spiritually, your human is going to be afraid. Every single time, there's going to be an energy there that says, are you going to leave me? Your job during your spiritual awakening is to work with your human. That's a big deal. That's huge. That's a big, big, big module that we go into in our private coaching sessions. And I that is a core. It is impossible to experience a successful spiritual awakening without working with your human, in my opinion, in my experience. And in every coaching client, every friend, every family member that I've ever worked with, in that whole bag of experience, it is impossible if you're not working with your human. Okay, so you're also going to, as you're going through that life review with Archangel Jeremiah, you're going to ask, okay, all right, I see it. Okay, now, but what's the pattern that I need to change? How do I make this decision different now? Okay. Oh, Marshall, good question. Good question. And A lot of good responses here. Thank you for using the chat box. Um, there's a diet or foods that you recommend while we evolve. Yes, I do. What feels good to your human? What feels good to your human? While you are ascending on, um, you are going to, um, for example, I used to smoke weed, and um, I smoked for a long time, and I started because I kept being misdiagnosed for an autoimmune disease, and I would be in so much pain. And one of my girlfriends said, why don't you just try it? I was like, I can't try it. No. And when I tried it, I was like, what? The pain was gone. And so I used it, and it worked for me for quite a while. And then I got to the point where I didn't need it for the pain. And I realized I was, let's see, the last time I think, and I remember it was, I grew paranoid right off the top. And I was just like, oh, this doesn't feel the same. And I already knew before that, Spirit was already telling me, I'm pulling you into a new direction. So, Marshall, I say this because it's not just food, it's what you're ingesting is what matters to you during your spiritual awakening. Now, Spirit didn't show me stop eating meat, stop drinking juice. Never really been a pop or a soda person, uh, but specifically what I was ingesting in my diet, that was a part of my diet, um, had already been pulling me towards different ways of relieving my vessel from the pain. And naturally, whereas I had always, and I still believe that marijuana is a natural herb. I'm of the belief of that, always will be. And, but I began to be detached from my use for it. So that's one thing. And didn't go back to it, didn't need to, it didn't have that need. And then I became, I grew, uh, not an aversion to it, because I can smell it and I can say, oh, it smells good. I can still say that. But I have no desire for it. The use for it, I lost and I was detached from. And so Spirit welcomed me into a new phase, and I welcomed what I needed to ingest. So, diet, I'm a big believer in water. Water is the healthiest for our vessel. And sometimes we're not giving ourselves enough. As a massage therapist, I understood before that of the metaphysical connection there, between energy and manifesting in physical. And I learned that room temperature water is what the body absorbs fastest. And after you have your massage, you're always told, drink your glass of water because you want to nourish and replenish your muscles. But in my graduate program in health and wellness, I learned that ice cold water makes your body work harder. So it's that exchange, but it's still the healthiest supplement there. We have to have it. We're composed of, primarily water. So definitely have that. Water is associated with spirituality. So if you need to have any supplements in your water, like Crystal Light or something like that. Fresh fruit is a big deal. Um, Teas, herbal teas, huge deal. And cranberry juice. Cranberry juice for men and women to flush your system. Also, when you're in your spiritual awakening, um, you can. Oh, good for you, Rachel. Rachel just stopped smoking too. So, why are you shaking your head? Tell us that. Tell us why you're shaking your head. Are you having a hard time with it, and why did you stop? So, you're also going to watch yourself from sweets. Remember that your vessel, this is the analogy that I always love to go to when we're referring to our vessel and how we take care of it, is picture you going home, but your home is not your home. Your home now is a worn down shack that has holes in the roof. It is crawling with vermin. It is inhabitable. And you won't even go past the car or the point that you just walked up and saw your home. And it's because it doesn't look safe. Doesn't feel safe. Doesn't feel comfortable. It's not inviting. It's not welcoming. Well, when you see yourself as your soul, and your soul sees your human as that shack, your soul needs to feel comforted and safe and pampered and cared for in his or her home. Chantel says alkaline water. And, I really leave that as a debate because I've had that debate of non-alkaline versus alkaline. And I'm still on that side of, it really depends on what you want and what you truly believe. If you agree with that, if you don't, we have a filter under our sink, and I drink that water all the time, and I'm absolutely fine with it. When it comes to tap water, I'm very careful about it. If it doesn't taste good, I don't want it. Didn't taste good before we put the filter in it. Tastes great now, and so I'm okay with it. Bottled water, I love. I'm not a biggie on buying expensive water. Some people are, so it really is how you feel. Meat, I have walked away from. I am not completely vegetarian, but it's through a progression, and it is something that came naturally through a spiritual awakening phase that I engaged and realized for years that I had been moving into it. So that was my awareness. Um, yeah, so you're going to want to pay attention to that. What other questions? You've got really good questions and comments there. Thank you so much. Good. Rachel's, trying to figure it out. So you've taken action and you're receiving that confirmation stage, just trying to see if it really makes any difference. Good for you. One of the things that I just heard is options. Filling that void with options. You have options that Spirit's been showing you. And occupying your time and getting out in nature and things like that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's an option. It's a choice. And Chantel says she makes her own and she buys it at the buy it at the store. That she has three dollar signs there. Yeah, they can get kind of pricey. But if it really is depends on what your taste is there. Mm-hmm. So what else? What other questions can we answer tonight? And so you really want to make sure you are. Well, let me go back to meat also. For meat, um, I have I stopped eating pork when I became an adult. Um, as far as beef, I stopped. Last year was the last time I had a cheeseburger, and I was all gung ho to go get it. And it was from a Five Guys. And every once in a while, I would treat myself to Five Guys little cheeseburger. And I got it, and I remember I bit into it, and I just was like, ugh. I was like, that's it. So I ate the fries, and that was it. So Spirit is working with me on chicken, and I've noticed a decrease in the amount of chicken that I'll eat. I could, remember when I used to devour it, and then now it's just like, you know, you can take it or leave it kind of a response I think I have. So watch your diet. When you're coming into alcohol and drugs, that's something that you're going to be aware of in the awareness phase. You're going to see, is it drugs? Is it alcohol? Is it cigarettes? Is it, what are you ingesting? Also, ready for this? Gossip, toxicity in the energy. We're ingesting that too. So as we move into next week, when we're going to discuss detachment, I want you to start paying attention to the signs that you are being shown. You're being pulled in a specific direction. What are you being pulled away from? So if you have noticed that you're starting to go to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, you're starting to look at different foods, check it out. When you go somewhere and you're looking at the salad, then you look back at, a meat entree, and you look back at a salad, you look back over here and you look at a smoothie. You're seeing that Spirit is working with you. You're becoming aware of the other option, the healthier option. And that is clearly Archangel Raphael also working with you, and Archangel Gabriel giving you the most important information so that you're able to recognize what Archangel Metatron is showing you, which is the patterns, the puzzle pieces, and you're putting it all together. Chantel says, Necole, I felt it in my core when people are speaking strongly or voice full. Is that part of my spiritual awakening? Oh, it is. It is. It is. It is. This is your clairaudience. It is your clairsentience. When you feel it and you sense it over your body. Please be aware of that. Excuse me. When you have clairaudience, you are hearing messages in your music, in the shower, in the bath, when all of a sudden, boom, that voice that you're speaking of, Chantel, comes to you, and you totally are pulled back from it, and you're having that inner dialogue. That's because you are receiving spiritual communication. When you're receiving the tingling, right about now is the time of night when I start to receive major, very loud spiritual communication. And my human still looks up in the direction of the TV because it is my human that's saying that is a frequency, and it is that high pitch. And my spirit is just like, we know what it is, we know what's going on. And the night that I was able to ask Archangel Razel, our spiritual alchemist, please show me what's going on and what's around here, what is in our home. Our spirit guides are very vocal, very visible, as you've seen in our videos. And I love them for that. And And we've got a lot of energy everywhere we go. So what I saw was passages, energy of all shapes and sizes, high saturated color, but it was black and white, but it was all just fully saturated with uh, energy. And I mean, energy of all kinds, just going back and forth, just traveling. It was like a gateway. And so it was just amazing. It was amazing. And it was exactly what I was hearing. So you're going to receive that too. Remember, the human terminology is going to be tinnitus. We have to have that human understanding, scientific knowledge. But when you look deeply into science, you'll see that science has drawn from ancient spiritual text and philosophy and principle. Okay. And Rachel, some recipes, absolutely go online. You know, Google is our best friend when it comes to stuff like that. Always self-educate. I'm a big believer in that because you are then forming your best perspective, your argument. You're forming your take. You know, you've got your opinion there, and you are really appeasing your human too. You know, um, helping your human understand what you're feeling on a soul level. So notice when you're in the awareness stage, um, your mindset may change. Your friends may change. You may notice that strain in a relationship. You may notice that the same likes you had before just aren't the same. Your needs and wants change. And so what you used to enjoy doing with someone or a group of people, you don't like that anymore. Or you're beginning to um, welcome a whole new set of friends. And you may just be going deeply within and really secluding yourself more. So people might be asking you, hey, where are you, Rachel? Where are you, Chantel? What's going on? I haven't heard from you in a while. You want to go do such and such? And Marshall, you're like, no, thank you. Or, no, I'm good. It's okay. Or, well, I haven't heard from you. What's going on? Nothing much. It's, I'm just living life. You may not know what to say. You may not know um, how to say it, and you may need to just keep it to yourself. Spirit's gonna tell you that this is certain thing. There's certain things that you're not going to share with anybody, and some things you're gonna share, but at a later date. You won't share right away, and it's very precious. So remember to be in prayer mode when you're in the awareness stage. That's when everything's hitting you and you're starting to really see it. And you may not be ready to really acknowledge it for so long. It may take you a year to acknowledge it. It may take you, a week, depending on where you are in your spiritual growth. But again, looking at the spiritual meaning to numbers, I don't know that I'm going to ask you to go back to uh, number 11. And also go to NecoleXO.com and look at the different numbers there that you will find as I continue to add to our directory. But look at the meaning and also look at the repeating. Let me make sure I know what the title is. Look at the spiritual meaning to repeating numbers. If you are seeing them back to back like that, especially since you're seeing 11s repeated, absolutely. And also when you have that cycle repeat. So that cycle repeat very quickly, which is a big deal, is when you have when you have one number in between a repeating numbers like 949, the number in this example would be number 4. Number 4 is at the core of what your message is, and it's backed by double energy of the number 9. Ooh, mascara, sorry, excuse me. And so you want to look at all of that, plus you're going to add all of it and reduce it down to the lowest number there and receive the overall energy of what Spirit's asking you to focus on. So it's a big deal. Please give yourself time to really look at the cycle repeat and the repeating numbers at NecoleXO.com. And this is all stuff that Spirit has worked with me for quite some time on, and told me to share it. And, when it came to me, I didn't share it at all because I was so taken aback by it. Just the extreme humility. I was overwhelmingly humbled by it. So I'm very, very blessed to be able to share that. I get that, Necole, and I pray for Archangel Michael for protection. Also went through a series of tests to be diagnosed with tinnitus. Wow. Yeah, and see, we, humans, gotta have a reason, gotta have an explanation. I was just reading something today, and I wish that I had it up. If I remember, I'll try to share it with you next week. But or I'll try to put it in your handout, which will be posted sometime tomorrow on your private page. But I was reading something that there's a scientific term of basically, human logic versus spiritual alchemy. And so we do go through that. Medically, there's a reductionist way of healing, of trying to figure out, what someone's ailment is originating from. And that reductionist attitude can literally break down someone's body even faster than healing, on a mind, body, soul level. So, a doctor can go through everything in their expert field, in their area, and find absolutely no reason that you're still having ringing in your ears and refer you to another expert. That's a reductionist, practice. And the next expert can say, we need to do brain surgery. For what? Well, you don't have textbook brain surgery, whatever, but we want to help you relieve this ringing. Well, how do you know that it can be relieved? Well, we're going to figure it out. We're going to try it out. That kind of thing. So we got to have a scientific, which is a human, definition for what is undefinable, because that's what science says. All right. So today that will conclude our class for today. So next week, we're going to go through detachment, and you are going to have some affirmations, some mantras, some practices on. That's awesome. Today, I like that, Marshall. That's awesome. Look at you. I love that. Marshall just said today is 6/4/2017. You add 6 and 4 is 10. And 2 and 0 plus 1 is 7 is 10. And you put the 10 in the 10. If you drop the 0, it's 11. And so, actually, and the way you would do that is You have that, let's see, so it'd be 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, and what is that? 13 plus 7, 10, 20, right? So you would have that 2. And, either way you look at it, 2 is support, that you are supported in this journey. You are receiving support in your spiritual journey, and there's togetherness and unity. And you've got that here too. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. I love that you did that. I love that. Yeah, so you guys will have your um, PDF posted tomorrow. So check it out. But this week, really start paying attention to the awareness phase and get ready for the detachment phase. Remember, detachment is um, parts of your life or your connection that you're being asked to let go of. Could be diet, could be people, could be connections there within relationships, could be intimate, family, coworker, could be parts of your inner self, your outer world, could be stuff behind closed doors, could be mindsets, could be um, wants, needs, all of the above, philosophies, um, could be so much. So I want you to start paying attention to it. You want to start paying attention to repeating everything, not just numbers, messages in your spiritual guidance that you keep hearing, people that keep saying the same thing. Is the same thing being repeated by other people, people that don't know each other? How are you receiving that same pull? What is the theme that you're starting to recognize? Okay. Because in the detachment phase, that theme is going to be loud and clear. All right. Thank you so much. Namaste. Love and light. Thank you for being just beautiful spiritual superstars. I just love you. I'm so glad to be able to do this and to serve in this capacity. Thank you for just welcoming me, along your spiritual journey. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much for letting me serve in my life mission, honey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good night, and I love you too, Rachel. I will be in touch with you tomorrow. You'll receive your coaching paperwork, and you all take great, great care. Mwah.